To Hook, the ship floated in the dark of space, broken and silent. Its metal skin was torn apart, fires burning in some corners and smoke escaping through cracks. Once it had carried families, dreams, and a future. Now it was nothing but a grave drifting between stars. Inside one of the shattered halls, a mother pressed her back against the cold wall, her arms wrapped tightly around her little daughter, holding her as if her touch alone could hide her from the danger coming closer. The girl was only 5 years old. Her eyes were wide and shining, filled with fear and confusion. She did not understand why men in black armor were stomping through the corridors with heavy boots, their weapons glowing red in the dark. The mother's skin was pale silver, shining softly even in the shadows. Her eyes were large and dark, reflecting every flicker of fire around them. She whispered to her child in their alien tongue, a soft lullaby of comfort, but her voice shook. She could hear the humans getting closer. Their voices carried down the corridor, sharp, cold, and without mercy. Search every room. The child must be found, a soldier's voice commanded. The mother tightened her grip. Her daughter's small hands clutched at her chest, and the girl whispered, "Mama, I'm scared." She stroked the child's hair quickly, forcing calm into her voice. "Stay quiet, my star. Don't let them hear you." But the echo of boots grew louder. There was no time left. Suddenly, the metal door burst open with a scream of tearing hinges. The soldiers entered, tall in their armor, their eyes glowing from behind dark helmets. The leader stepped forward, scanning the room. His gaze locked on the mother and her child. The little girl whimpered. The mother pushed the child behind her and raised her hands. Her knees bent, her body trembling, but her voice rang out strong and desperate. "She's only 5. Take me instead." Her words broke the silence like thunder. The soldiers stopped. Their leader tilted his head, his weapon rising. The red glow from his gun painted the girl's face in the shadows. She tried to hide behind her mother, but her small body shook, her little fingers peeking out from behind her mother's arms. "Orders are clear," the leader said coldly. "The child is the target." The mother dropped to her knees. She bowed her head low, pressing her forehead against the cold floor. Her silver hair spilled around her like a river of light. Her voice cracked as she begged again, "Please. She is innocent. I will go with you. Kill me, take me, but spare her." Her tears fell, glowing faintly in the dim light, rolling down her cheeks and onto the metal ground. But the soldiers' boots moved forward without pause. "Secure the child," the leader ordered. 2 soldiers reached out, trying to pull the girl away. The mother roared, her alien voice echoing like a wild animal. She lunged forward, claws flashing, striking one soldier across the faceplate. Sparks flew, and the man stumbled back. Another soldier grabbed her by the arms, forcing her down. She kicked, twisted, screamed, but there were too many. The child screamed for her mother, her little voice breaking like glass. "Mama! Mama!" The mother's heart split at the sound. She struggled harder, but the humans pressed her to the floor. A soldier pulled the child into his arms. The girl kicked and cried, tears rolling down her face, reaching for her mother's hand. Their fingers brushed for a moment, and then she was pulled away. The mother's voice rose, a sound of pure pain. "No, please, not her." The leader lifted his weapon, pointing it at her head. His voice was like iron. "Move again and you die." She froze, her chest heaving, her eyes burning with hate and despair. The little girl's cries echoed in the hall as the soldiers carried her away. And then something happened. One soldier standing near the back did not move. His weapon was lowered. His visor reflected the scene before him. The mother on her knees, the child screaming in terror, and his own squad obeying cruel orders. His hands shook. For a moment he was not a soldier. He was a father remembering the face of his own daughter, long lost to war. He clenched his jaw. His heart pounded in his chest. Something inside him whispered, "This is wrong." The mother looked up at him, her eyes locking on his faceplate. Even through the helmet she could see something, hesitation, humanity. And in that moment a new tension filled the room. The soldiers dragged the alien child toward the exit. The mother lay broken on the floor, her voice a desperate plea. The leader raised his hand to signal the retreat, but one soldier still did not move. His hand hovered near his weapon, his breath heavy. Would he obey, or would he stand against his own kind? The corridor seemed to hold its breath. The fires hissed. The child's cries echoed. The mother's tears glowed like stars on the ground. And in the shadows of the wrecked ship, the future of 3 lives balanced on the edge of a single choice: the human command. The corridor was filled with smoke and sparks. broken wires hissing above the heads of the soldiers. The alien mother still knelt on the floor, her chest rising and falling fast, her silver skin marked with bruises. The little girl cried in the arms of one of the soldiers, reaching for her mother, but no hand could reach far enough. The leader raised his voice, sharp and commanding. "Secure the child. She is priority one. Do not let her out of your sight." The soldiers obeyed without question. Their boots hit the metal floor like a drumbeat, hard and unfeeling. The little girl kicked and screamed, her cries echoing through the broken halls. Every sound cut into the mother's heart like a blade. "Please," the mother begged again, her voice breaking. "She is only a child." The commander did not answer her. His visor reflected her broken figure, but his hand never trembled. He lifted his gun slightly, showing her that silence was the only choice left. The squad began to move. The soldier carrying the child adjusted his grip, holding her tightly as she struggled, her small fists hitting against his chest plate. Another soldier kept his weapon ready, scanning for threats. To them, she was not a little girl. She was cargo. The mother's body shook with rage. She wanted to rise, to fight again, but her arms felt heavy. Blood dripped from her side where a rifle butt had struck her. She forced herself to her knees, but a soldier pushed her back down with a boot. "Stay down," he said coldly. For a moment, all hope seemed gone. The child was lost, the humans too strong. But one detail broke the flow of obedience. A soldier at the back, frozen in place. His weapon was lowered, his head tilted slightly toward the girl, his visor catching the faint glow of her terrified eyes. He did not move when the order was given again. "March," the commander barked. Still, the man hesitated. His hands shook inside his gloves. His heart hammered as memories pressed into his mind. Memories he had tried to bury. A tiny laugh, a smile, small arms around his neck. His daughter, long dead because of a war that had promised justice but delivered nothing but graves. The cries of this alien child sounded the same. His chest grew tight. He whispered inside his helmet words no one else could hear. "She's just a child." But orders were orders. The commander's voice echoed again, sharp as a blade. "Move, soldier. Do not break formation." The man's eyes flicked between his leader, the mother, and the girl. His squad mates were watching him now, confusion behind their visors. To hesitate was dangerous. To disobey was death. The mother noticed him. Her dark eyes locked onto his faceplate as if she could see through the glass into his heart. She did not speak, but her stare begged him to remember what it meant to be human. The commander turned sharply, stepping closer to the frozen soldier, his voice lowered, filled with threat. "Do you have a problem with your orders?" Silence. The soldier swallowed, his throat dry. His fingers twitched against the grip of his weapon. The commander leaned in closer, voice like iron. "Remember what we are fighting for. That child is not your concern. She is property now." The word hit him like poison. Property. His mind roared with anger. A child property? No, he could not accept that. Not again. The soldier carrying the girl adjusted his hold. The child's tear-streaked face turned for one last look at her mother. The alien mother's arms reached out weakly, fingers trembling, too far away to touch, and then the silence inside the hesitant soldier broke. He stepped forward. "Sir," he said, his voice shaking but loud enough for all to hear. "This isn't war. This is wrong." The corridor froze. Even the hum of sparking wires seemed to stop. Every visor turned toward him. Weapons shifted. The commander straightened, his voice like ice. "What did you say?" The soldier's chest heaved. He forced the words out one by one. "She's 5 years old. She's not an enemy. She's not a threat. She's a child." The commander's hand rose to his weapon slowly, with deadly intent. "You forget yourself," he said. "Do you dare question your orders?" The soldier tightened his grip on his rifle, but not to aim it at the alien. His weapon lowered to the floor, a sign of defiance. "Yes," he said. "I question them." The mother's eyes widened. For the first time since the soldiers had entered, a spark of hope lit her face. The commander's visor glowed red in the dim light. "Then you are a traitor." Tension filled the corridor like a storm. The soldiers shifted, unsure whether to aim at the alien mother or their own comrade. The little girl stopped crying for a moment, sensing something had changed. Her small hand reached toward the soldier who dared to speak, and in that silent, fragile moment, a new path opened, one that could save her life, or end them all. The commander's hand hovered over his trigger. The squad held their breath. And the soldier, standing alone, prepared to make a choice that would decide everything. A rebel heart. The corridor burned with tension. Sparks dropped from the broken ceiling like tiny falling stars. The squad stood frozen, caught between their commander's cold orders and the lone soldier's trembling defiance. The alien mother watched with wide, wet eyes, hardly daring to breathe. Her daughter clung to the soldier holding her, her small arms thrashing weakly, tears soaking the armor. But now her gaze fixed on the man who had spoken out. For a moment the child's cries softened as if she sensed he was different. The commander took a slow step forward. His voice was low, but every syllable struck like a hammer. "You dare challenge me, soldier? You forget your place." The defiant soldier stood firm, though his legs trembled beneath the weight of his decision. His heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst through his chest. Memories flooded his mind. His daughter's laughter, her tiny hands wrapped around his finger, her bright eyes that had once looked at him with trust. She had been the same age when she died. The war had taken her. And now he saw the same cruelty aimed at this alien child. His voice broke through the silence, rough but certain. "She's just a little girl. What threat can she be? She's not a weapon, she's not an enemy. She's a child." The commander's visor glowed red in the flickering light. His hand twitched near his gun. "Stand down," he ordered. But the soldier didn't move. His hands clenched at his sides, his breath sharp and fast. He could feel every eye on him, every finger hovering near a trigger. He knew the risk. Still he shook his head slowly. "No, I won't." The corridor seemed to shrink, the air thick with danger. One word, one twitch, and it would all explode. The mother's lips parted. She whispered softly in her own language, almost a prayer, almost a plea. She did not understand his words, but she understood his heart. She knew he was standing for her child. The commander's patience snapped. His hand shot out, gripping the rebel soldier's chest plate, yanking him forward. Sparks lit the air as their armor clashed. "You have betrayed your oath," the commander hissed. "You would throw away your life for an alien animal?" The soldier's teeth clenched. His answer was steady, louder now, filled with rage. "No, for a child." The words echoed through the wreckage, bold and unshaken. Behind them, the little girl's voice rose again. "Mama, Mama!" she cried, reaching over the shoulder of the man who held her captive. Her tiny voice pierced every heart, even those hardened by years of war. For a brief second, one of the soldiers looked down at her and hesitated. His grip loosened slightly, almost unconsciously, but the commander's fury silenced all doubt. He shoved the defiant soldier back hard. The man stumbled but caught himself. Weapons lifted across the corridor, red beams painting the walls. "Point your gun," the commander barked. "Now obey." The rebel soldier slowly raised his weapon, but not toward the alien. His aim shifted slightly, pointing instead at the floor. His chest rose and fell as he made his choice clear. "I will not kill a child," he said firmly. The squad shifted uneasily. Some looked at each other, confused, torn between loyalty and conscience. But none dared move against the commander. The mother's breath caught. Could this man truly save them? The commander's hand moved to his pistol. He raised it with deliberate calm, the barrel glinting in the red light. He aimed it at the rebel soldier's head. "Then you die with them." Time slowed. The sound of the child's crying filled the hall. The mother screamed and tried to rise, though her body ached with pain. Sparks hissed, alarms wailed in the distance, and still the rebel soldier did not flinch. His eyes locked onto the girl. His voice dropped to a whisper meant only for himself. "I couldn't save you, but I can save her." His finger tightened on his rifle. He wasn't aiming at his commander yet, but the choice was there, ready. The moment stretched thin like glass about to shatter. Then an explosion shook the ship. The floor rattled, throwing sparks down on them all. Smoke poured into the corridor from deeper inside. The sudden chaos broke the standoff, giving the rebel soldier a chance. He lunged forward, shoving the commander's arm away as the pistol fired. The shot went wide, scorching the wall with a burst of red light. The other soldiers shouted, weapons rising, but in the confusion the child slipped from her captor's arms. She tumbled to the floor, scrambling toward her mother on shaking legs. The mother screamed her daughter's name and reached out, but soldiers were already moving to block her. The rebel soldier spun, his rifle snapping up, not at the child but at the soldiers standing in her path. His weapon cracked, the flash lighting up the hall. Armor sparked as one man fell. "Run!" he shouted at the mother. "Take her and run!" The commander roared in fury, turning his weapon on the traitor. Sparks and gunfire filled the hall as chaos consumed the squad. And in that storm of violence, a new story began, not of orders and obedience, but of rebellion, courage, and a heart that refused to let innocence die. The escape. The explosion still echoed through the broken ship as smoke rolled down the corridor. The air smelled of burning metal and ash. Shouts filled the hall, weapons firing, red beams slicing through the haze. The alien mother stumbled forward, her daughter's small hand clutched tightly in hers. Her silver skin glistened with sweat and tears, but her eyes burned with desperate strength. The girl cried, her little legs barely able to keep up, but she ran because her mother dragged her forward. Behind them, the rebel soldier fired again, covering their path. Sparks flew as bullets struck the walls. One soldier fell, another shouted in pain, but more pressed forward, loyal to their commander. "Go!" the rebel shouted, his voice sharp, his tone leaving no room for hesitation. "This way!" He sprinted ahead, blasting open a side door with his rifle. The mother hesitated for a heartbeat, staring at him with doubt and fear. Was this truly help or another trap? But then her daughter tugged her arm, pulling her toward the soldier. She had no choice. They dashed into the narrow maintenance tunnel. The air here was different, stale, thick with dust, the walls lined with pipes that hummed faintly. The tunnel was dark except for flickering lights, shadows stretching long across the floor. The rebel sealed the door behind them with a slam of his fist on the control panel. Sparks showered as the lock fused shut. For a moment silence returned, broken only by the mother's ragged breathing and the child's soft sobs. The mother clutched her daughter tightly, her body trembling. Her dark eyes glared at the human soldier. She hissed in her alien tongue, words sharp with distrust. He raised his hands slowly, showing he meant no harm. His voice was calm, though his heart raced. "If I wanted you dead, I wouldn't be here. I'm not your enemy. Not today." The mother narrowed her eyes, still shielding her daughter with her body. She could not understand his words, but his actions spoke louder. He had turned his weapon not on them, but on his own kind. The little girl peeked from behind her mother's arms, her face wet with tears. She whispered softly, "Mama, he saved us." The mother's eyes flicked down to her daughter, then back to the soldier. At last she gave a small nod. Not trust, only survival. The soldier exhaled and pointed deeper into the tunnels. "This way, hurry!" They moved quickly, their footsteps echoing against metal floors. The mother carried her child at times when her legs gave out, but exhaustion dragged her body down. The soldier noticed her stumbling. Without a word, he took the girl into his arms. The mother stiffened, ready to fight, but the child clung to his armor, her small hands gripping tightly. He glanced at the mother and said softly, "She's safe." The mother walked beside him, her eyes never leaving her daughter, her heart torn between fear and the faintest flicker of hope. Behind them, the sound of pounding boots grew louder. The commander's voice carried through the comms, his fury shaking the halls. "Find them. Lock down every tunnel. That traitor dies with the alien scum." The rebel soldier quickened his pace. He knew the layout of the ship, every maintenance shaft, every hidden route. He had walked these paths countless times as a soldier, but now for the first time he used that knowledge not for war but for escape. They turned corner after corner, the tunnels twisting like a maze. Pipes hissed, steam burst from broken vents, and the child coughed against the soldier's chest. The mother touched her daughter's hair, whispering soft words of comfort in her alien tongue. At one junction, the rebel stopped. He pressed a hand to the wall, closing his eyes, listening. Through the pipes, he could hear faint vibrations, boots coming closer. "They're cutting us off," he muttered. The mother tilted her head, sensing his unease. She whispered something in her own language, a single word heavy with fear. The soldier made a choice. He knelt, setting the girl back in her mother's arms. His eyes met the alien woman's. "You must trust me," he said firmly. "I'll hold them back. Take her, keep running. Don't stop until you find the outer hatch." The mother shook her head, clutching her daughter tighter. She did not know his words, but she knew his meaning. Her eyes filled with fire. She would not leave him behind. "No," she said, surprising him with a word in his own tongue. "Together." For a heartbeat, his chest tightened. Her voice carried the same fierce love he had once known in his wife's voice, the same refusal to let go of family. He nodded once. Together. They pressed on, faster now. The soldier fired at cameras, breaking them, leaving blind spots in their wake. Every few steps, the mother glanced back, her heart racing. Then came the sound of boots closing in. Shadows moved at the far end of the tunnel. Weapons glowed red. "Run!" the soldier barked. He turned, raising his rifle, unleashing a storm of fire down the hall. The mother ran with her daughter, her breath ragged, her arms aching. Bullets sparked off walls, screams echoed, the tunnel shaking with violence. She reached a hatch at the end of the corridor. Her fingers fumbled at the control panel. It was dead, sparking uselessly. She turned, panic filling her chest. The soldier fought behind her, shouting over the gunfire. "Open it!" She slammed her fist into the panel. The lights flickered, but still it did not move. The little girl placed her small hand on the metal door, her eyes glowing faintly with a strange light. A hum filled the air, deep and alien. With a sudden screech, the hatch slid open. The mother gasped, pulling her daughter through. The soldier stumbled back, covering them, then leapt through the hatch as red beams scorched the air behind him. He slammed the door shut, sealing it with a burst of fire from his rifle. For a moment, silence returned. Only their heavy breathing filled the darkness of the new chamber. The mother clutched her daughter, whispering thanks in her alien tongue. The child leaned against her, exhausted but alive. The soldier leaned against the wall, his chest heaving. He looked at them both, mother and child, and for the first time in years, he felt something warm in his chest. Hope. But beyond the sealed hatch, the commander's voice thundered through the ship. "You cannot hide. We will find you." The escape had begun, but survival was far from certain. The secret. The hatch sealed behind them with a final hiss, leaving the three of them in a dark chamber deep inside the wounded ship. The only light came from broken panels on the wall, flickering like dying stars. Steam drifted from cracked pipes, filling the air with a faint metallic taste. The mother collapsed to her knees, pulling her daughter into her arms. She kissed the child's forehead, whispering fast words in her alien tongue. The girl trembled but clung tightly to her mother's chest, her little hands gripping her clothes as if she would never let go. The soldier leaned against the wall, his chest heaving, his armor scorched with burns from the fight. He slid his helmet off, revealing a human face, pale, scarred, and lined with grief. His eyes were sharp but tired, and for the first time the mother saw the man, not the soldier. Their gazes met across the shadows. She did not trust him, but he had fought for them. Her breathing slowed, her suspicion mixed with confusion. Why would a human risk everything for her child? The soldier broke the silence. His voice was low but steady. "They won't stop hunting her. Do you know why?" The mother stiffened. She did not understand every word, but she caught enough. She pulled her daughter closer, shaking her head. The soldier crouched, his rifle resting against his knee. His eyes softened as he looked at the girl. "It's not just because she's yours. It's because of what's inside her." The mother's heart skipped. Her eyes widened. He knew. The girl shifted in her mother's arms, her small face still streaked with tears. She looked at the soldier, her dark eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. That glow, so faint, so innocent, held the truth the mother had fought to hide. The soldier leaned closer, lowering his voice even more. "She carries something we need, something that can cure us." The mother's breath caught in her throat. Her hands trembled around her daughter. "Yes," she whispered in broken human words. "Her blood." The soldier nodded grimly. He looked away, his jaw tight. "There's a plague. It spread through our colonies. Millions dead, no cure. Our leaders believe her blood is the key. They will take her, cut her open, drain her until nothing is left." The mother's eyes filled with fire. "She is not medicine. She is child." Her voice was sharp, shaking with rage. She pulled her daughter tighter, shielding her as if the soldier's words alone could wound her. The girl, still young, did not understand. She only pressed her small head into her mother's chest, whispering softly, "Mama, I'm tired." The soldier's chest tightened. He looked at the child, then at the mother. He had once heard the same words from his own daughter, in her final days. "Daddy, I'm tired." Those words had broken him then, and now they burned through him again like fire. His voice cracked as he spoke. "I lost my child. She was 5, just like her." The mother blinked, her breath slowing. For the first time, she saw pain in his eyes, not the cold cruelty of the other humans, but grief as heavy as her own fear. He pressed a hand to his chest, his voice steadying. "I couldn't save my daughter, but I can save yours, if you let me." Silence stretched between them. The hum of the ship was the only sound. The mother studied him, searching for lies. But all she found was truth, raw, broken, and desperate. Slowly, her grip loosened. Not on her daughter, never on her, but on her hatred. She whispered, "Why? Why you help us?" The soldier exhaled. His answer was simple. "Because I remember what it means to be human." The mother's eyes softened, but her fear returned quickly. She shook her head, whispering bitterly, "Your people never stop. They will hunt. Always hunt." The soldier nodded grimly. "Yes, they won't stop until she's theirs. But I know the paths. I can get you out. There's an old launch bay, forgotten. If we reach it, you can escape." Her heart pounded. Escape. A word she had not dared to dream of, but the commander's voice still echoed in her memory. "You cannot hide." "We will find you." The soldier stood, slinging his rifle across his shoulder. His eyes hardened again, the look of a man ready for war. "They're coming. We don't have much time." The mother rose slowly, still holding her daughter. Her legs trembled with exhaustion, but she forced herself to stand tall. She looked at the soldier one last time, her voice filled with quiet strength. "If you betray us, I kill you." The soldier gave a small, bitter smile. "Fair enough." He opened a hatch at the far side of the chamber, the metal groaning as it slid aside. Beyond lay another dark tunnel, deeper into the ship's forgotten guts. The little girl lifted her head from her mother's chest. Her small voice, soft but clear, broke the heavy silence. "The human, he saved us." The soldier froze. The words pierced him like a blade. In her tiny, innocent voice he heard trust, something he had long thought lost. For the first time in years he felt his chest grow lighter. He nodded slowly, his voice rough. "I'll keep saving you. I promise." Together the three of them stepped into the darkness of the tunnel. Behind them, distant echoes of boots and gunfire grew louder. The hunt had not ended. It had only just begun. And somewhere deep inside the commander's ship, trackers pulsed, signaling their prey was still alive. The secret was out, and now, the price of that secret would decide the fate of them all. The stand. The tunnel shook as boots thundered behind them. Alarms wailed through the wrecked ship, red lights flashing like angry eyes. The rebel soldier led the way, his rifle ready, his breath sharp. Behind him, the alien mother carried her daughter, her arms trembling but unyielding. They had come so far, but the ship was a cage and the hunters were closing in. At last, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber, the forgotten launch bay. Dust covered the floor and broken ships rested in silence, long abandoned. Pipes leaked steam from the ceiling, fogging the air. A faint glow from cracked panels lit the room in ghostly light. The soldier stopped, scanning quickly. His heart pounded. "This is it," he muttered. "The old bay. We just need a ship that still runs." The mother's eyes darted across the ruins. Her daughter stirred weakly in her arms, whispering, "Mama," tired. The mother pressed a kiss to her forehead, whispering back in her own tongue, "Hold on, my star." But before they could move further, a door on the far side burst open. The commander stepped in, his black armor gleaming, his visor glowing red. Behind him, a squad of soldiers fanned out, weapons raised, boots pounding in unison. The commander's voice thundered through the chamber. "There is nowhere left to run. Hand over the child. Now." The mother froze, clutching her daughter tighter. Her eyes filled with fire. "Never." The soldier stepped forward, placing himself between the commander and the mother. His rifle rose, his stance firm. His voice was steady, though his heart raced. "You'll have to go through me first." The commander tilted his head, almost amused. "You would betray your kind for an alien child?" The soldier's grip tightened. "Not for an alien. For innocence. For what's right." The commander's laugh echoed cold and cruel. "You speak of right and wrong as if it matters in war. You've forgotten who you are. You're no soldier. You're a traitor." He raised his weapon. "And I'll end you myself." The squad aimed, lasers painting the soldier's chest. The mother gasped, her body shaking, torn between running and fighting. The child hid her face in her mother's arms, whispering in fear. But the soldier did not move. He stood tall, eyes locked on the commander. His voice rang out like steel. "I swore to protect humanity. Today that means protecting her. Because this," he pointed at the commander with his rifle, "this is not humanity." The chamber held its breath. The commander fired. The soldier dove, rolling behind a broken ship hull as the blast scorched the ground. He fired back, bullets sparking off armor. Chaos erupted. The squad stormed forward, red beams slicing through the air. "Go!" The soldier shouted to the mother. "Find a ship." The mother dashed across the bay, her daughter clinging to her tightly. She moved from cover to cover, her heart pounding. Bullets sparked around her, the air hot with fire. The soldier fought fiercely, every shot deliberate, every movement driven by something greater than orders. He wasn't fighting for medals or glory or even his own survival. He was fighting for a promise to save one child when he couldn't save his own. The commander charged forward, striking with brutal force. The two men clashed, steel against steel, fists slamming against armor. The soldier grunted as he blocked blow after blow, pain shooting through his ribs. "You can't win," the commander growled, striking again. "You stand alone." The soldier spat blood, his eyes burning. "I'd rather die alone than live as a monster." With a roar, he slammed his rifle butt into the commander's visor. Glass cracked, sparks flew, but the commander did not fall. His strength was overwhelming, his strikes relentless. The mother reached the far side of the bay. She found an old shuttle, its hull dented, its engines cold. She laid her daughter inside, pressing her hand to the controls. The ship hummed faintly, but it was weak. She turned, her eyes finding the soldier. He was on his knees now, the commander's hand gripping his throat, lifting him high. The commander's pistol pressed against his head. The mother screamed. "No!" The soldier's vision blurred, his breath failing. But his eyes found the little girl peeking out of the shuttle, her face pale, her eyes glowing faintly with that strange alien light. Strength surged through him. He slammed his elbow into the commander's side, breaking free for a heartbeat. He grabbed his rifle, spun, and fired point blank. The blast struck the commander's chest, sending him stumbling back. The chamber shook with the sound, but the commander did not fall. His armor smoked, cracked, but he straightened, his voice dripping with fury. "You think you can kill me? Fool, I am war itself." The soldier braced, breathing hard, ready for the final clash. He knew this might be the end. But if he could buy even a moment for the mother and child to escape, it would be enough. He looked back at them one last time, his eyes soft despite the fire around him. "Go," he whispered. The mother's heart broke. She wanted to run to him, to fight beside him, but she saw the truth in his eyes. He had already made his choice. With trembling hands, she closed the shuttle hatch. The engines sputtered, light flickering across the bay. The commander turned toward the shuttle, weapon raised. The soldier lunged, tackling him, slamming both of them into the ground. His roar shook the air. "You'll have to go through me." The shuttle's engines roared to life. The bay shook, dust rising in a storm. The mother gripped the controls, tears streaming down her face. As the shuttle lifted, the little girl pressed her hand to the window, watching the soldier fight. Her voice was soft, but carried through the air like a promise. "The human saved us." The ship shot into the void, and in the launch bay, one man stood against an army, his body battered, his spirit unbroken. The stand had begun, the resolution. The launch bay shook with fire and fury. The shuttle tore free from its cradle, engines roaring, dust storming across the chamber. Through the haze, the alien mother clutched the controls, her silver hands trembling. Her daughter sat beside her, tiny fingers gripping the seat, her wide eyes fixed on the window. Outside, the rebel soldier still fought. The commander rose from the ground, his armor cracked, smoke curling from his chest plate. His visor flickered, half shattered, revealing one cold human eye burning with rage. Across from him, the soldier stood with his rifle in one hand, his body battered, blood dripping down his cheek. The commander's voice was raw and thunderous. "You cannot stop this. That child belongs to us. To humanity." The soldier's breath was heavy, but his voice cut through the chaos. "No, humanity isn't this. Humanity is protecting her, not destroying her." The two men charged. Their clash shook the broken bay, fists slamming, steel grinding, sparks flying. The commander's strength was overwhelming, every strike forcing the soldier back. But the soldier's will burned brighter with every blow. He fought with memory, with grief, with love for a child who wasn't his but who deserved to live. In the shuttle, the mother cried out, her voice breaking. "We cannot leave him." The engines screamed, the ship trembling, but her daughter touched her hand gently. The child's voice was soft, almost calm. "Mama, he is saving us." Tears blurred the mother's vision. She pressed her hand against the glass, whispering words the soldier could not hear but might feel. Words of gratitude, of sorrow, of hope. The commander struck hard, slamming the soldier to the floor. His boot pressed against the man's chest, crushing the air from his lungs. His pistol aimed down at his face. "This is your end," the commander spat. The soldier's vision blurred. Pain burned through every muscle. but his hand still gripped his rifle. He forced out one last breath. No, not while she lives. With a final surge, he fired. The blast struck the commander's side, sending him stumbling back. The soldier rolled to his knees, rising with a roar. He swung his rifle like a blade, slamming it into the commander's broken visor. Glass shattered, sparks flew, and the commander fell to his knees. But the soldier knew it was not enough. The commander's hand still reached, still clawed for control. The soldier looked up. The shuttle hovered above the bay floor, engines blazing, ready to fly into the stars. Inside, the child's small face pressed against the glass, watching him. He smiled through the blood on his lips. It was not a smile of victory, but of peace. He turned back to the commander. His voice was quiet, steady. You won't touch her. Then, with every last ounce of strength, he grabbed the commander and drove him back into the flames bursting from a ruptured engine. Fire roared, swallowing them both. The mother screamed, her body shaking. The child cried out, tears streaking her cheeks. But the shuttle lifted higher, forced upward by the engines, the bay shrinking beneath them. The last image they saw was the soldier standing in the fire, holding the commander down, his body outlined in light. A man, not a monster. A man who gave everything so they could live. The shuttle burst free into space. Stars filled the windows, endless and bright. The child pressed her small hand against the glass, her voice trembling but strong. The human saved us. The mother held her tightly, tears falling freely. She whispered into her daughter's hair, "Yes, my star. He saved us. He saved you." For a long time they sat in silence, the ship drifting among the stars. The mother's heart ached with sorrow for the man they had left behind, but it also carried something new. Hope. A hope that not all humans were cruel. That one had remembered what humanity truly meant. She looked at her daughter, brushing her hair back gently. The child's glow flickered faintly, a reminder of the secret she carried, the cure within her veins. The mother's voice was soft, almost a vow. We will live. For him. For his sacrifice. And the child nodded, her eyes wide and solemn, though she was only 5. She rested her head on her mother's chest, whispering one last time before sleep took her. The human was good. The mother closed her eyes, holding her child close, the stars stretching endlessly before them. She knew their journey was far from over. The humans would keep hunting. The danger was not gone, but tonight her daughter was alive. And one man's sacrifice had proven that even in the darkest of wars, there could still be light. Far behind them, in the ruins of the ship, fire consumed metal and flesh alike. But in the hearts of those who escaped, the memory of the soldier burned brighter than any flame. He had stood alone. He had fought without fear, and he had given them a chance to live. Sometimes the strongest humanity is not found in armies or leaders. Sometimes it is found in the heart of one.